Hey guys, I decided to finally do a Q&A, questions and answers video because I feel I've gotten a few of the same questions throughout the years or a year, and I feel like I think time for me to make some kind of video where I answer a lot of common questions. So let's just get right into it. This question is by oh, well, Little or Chris, and a person whose name I accidentally cut off. I'm sorry, but they have an iCarly icon. But they both ask the same questions. If you have the same questions or similar questions, I'm just gonna group it up to get it done faster. But Little or Chris asks, how do you draw your so loose? If that makes sense, like the poses always look so relaxed and natural. And then how do you make your art so fluid? So this is kind of the same question. What I usually do is because I'm always anxious about my art being too stiff. I don't like my art being stiff. So what I always do is I get a pen, something where I cannot erase. A pen's always the best. I never use a pencil for this. I get a pen and I look up Crocus Cafe, which is it's a channel on YouTube. It's like a life drawing. Like, it's the closest thing you'll get to a life drawing class. And I believe life drawing is what gets anyone's art to be from stiff to lifelike and loose. So I use that, I pick a video, and they give you at least 1 minute for the first 5 drawings, and then slowly in the end you'll get 5 minutes, and you'll see just how much you've loosened up in anatomy and just drawing in general. So that's what I always do, and it's helped a lot. I've been doing it since I was in high school, and it's gotten my art to be a lot more lively and a little more fun to look at than before. I still use it because I'm always trying to loosen up my artwork. Alright, next question. So this is by Spaghetti's Lego Bagel and a line Blackthorn. So how did you develop your art style, and what is your favorite part about it? What's your favorite thing about your art? Also, you seem like a little bit human. Thank you. How do you develop your art style? So this is basically how I develop my art style. Well, it's kind of hard because usually when I answer this question, I kind of say the same thing. Like, I've been drawing since I can remember, yada yada. But it's, but it's true. I've been drawing for a long time, and all my style is really, if you want to bring it to the basics, it's just an amalgam of all my favorite things that I like in anything. So it used to be Ed, Edd n Eddy and Powerpuff Girls that my style used to resemble a little bit. And eventually, as I got into more things, it started to resemble, maybe Pulp Fiction art, or someone said my artwork looked like French comics, or those little French magazines. I'm like, wow, it's really nice because I really like that style too. So it's just, I'm just grabbing certain things I like and I'm putting all in one piece, and that's kind of what helps develop my style. So it's not really something I think about consciously, it just kind of happens. And it happens for every artist, trust me. You don't have to think about it. It's just, you keep drawing, and the more you find yourself liking certain things, you're gonna do more of that. And that's how your style eventually develops. Alright, next questions. Clue Art asks, oh wait, I forgot? I forgot to tell him what I liked about my style. Well, my favorite part... because Spaghetti's asked what was my favorite part about my style, and I'd probably say the way I draw shoulders. Like, the way I draw shoulders could be a little sensual and exciting, because shoulders excite me. I don't know about you, but I really enjoy how shoulders, like the shape of it's just one slope, and I'm always, like, I love drawing broad shoulders, narrow shoulders. That's just something I really like to draw, and I think it shows in my artwork. I like looking at the way I draw shoulders. So I know it's a little specific, but yeah, that's what I enjoy. Alright, now we can go to the next questions. Clue Art and Lola Williams ask, how do you get your characters to be so developed and beautiful? How do you make good stories with OCs that catch the eye of others? So these two are also kind of similar. Asking how to develop, how did I develop my characters to be how they are? And I think when you're developing a character or a story, it's something you shouldn't think so hard about. I know when you watch those movie critics, I feel like honestly YouTube critique community has discouraged a lot of people from creating stories, because I watch these videos and they're very, very nitpicky. And it's like, the fact that these stories were made, I think is good enough. I'm not saying every movie should be free from criticism, but I do think because it's so popular to criticize movies and stuff, or stories or books, we kind of feel like it's impossible to make a decent story or a decent character, because it's not perfect. So for me, when I created Glee, I didn't create Glee. When I created my own versions of the Glee characters, the more I developed them, the more I realized that this is how characters and stories are created. They're literally just piggybacked off of other stories or other experiences. And that's when I started to realize, oh yeah, you don't just, you don't come up with stories and OCs off the top of your head from nothing. It's from actual, existing stories or existing people or in real life experiences. Like, for example, Kurt, I feel like Kurt is, to me, I think he's very well developed in my eyes, because Kurt and I have a lot in common, like especially when it comes to Kurt and his OCD or constant worrying about people. Like, to me, I can write that very well, because that's something I know personally. That's something I experience. So, and Blaine, I feel like Blaine has a lot of attention. Like, a lot of people like Blaine a lot, which I like, because I like Blaine too. But I think the reason why people like Blaine a lot is because a lot of Blaine's personality is taken from the show, but it's also taken from people I know in real life. Like, for example, I have a headcanon that Blaine likes to carry things like first aid kits and stuff. He carries a whole bunch of like knickknacks and doohickeys just in case if anyone needs them. And that's really inspired by one of my best friends who I've known since high school. She used to always like carry stuff. Like, I remember one time someone got hurt and she just pulled out a first aid kit, and we're like, why do you have a first aid kit in your book bag? And she's like, just in case, I'm always prepared. And we always appreciated that. So I always thought that was really charming. So I kind of put that in Blaine. Also, my friend used to, whenever she came back from the Philippines, she used to always bring back cool trinkets and stuff. And so I also have Blaine do that when he goes to the Philippines. He brings back stuff like little toys, little things he finds that he thinks his friends would like. But yeah, like, basically, what I'm saying is you just write about it. Just put what interests you, and eventually other people will be interested in it too. Like, I'm so honest when I say these movies or these books or everyone else's OCs that become classics or well loved, it's all by accident. Like, they don't create these characters and stories thinking this is gonna blow people's fucking minds. Like, this is gonna be what I will be remembered for forever. Like, no, they just make it, and then people they latch onto it, because that's how people are. But yeah, that's kind of like my process. I bounce off ideas from friends online, and that helps a lot. Yeah, it's not, it's usually my process. Alright, so next question. Lemon Grab That Booty asks, who's your favorite artist? And Yuck Danny, my friend, asks, hello Jay, I love you. My question is, which artist do you look up to / inspire you? So, I always like answering this question because it changes like every month. But my favorite artist that I look up to would be J.C. Leyendecker, Gustav Klimt, and recently Carl Alexander Book. And I know recently I made an art piece inspired by him. I'll talk about that later on. But yeah, another artist I really like is, and I know it might be biased of me, but I also really like Brandon Boyd's artwork. He's the lead singer of Incubus, but he actually really is an incredible artist. And a lot of my recent work, like it's kind of inspired by the way he draws like tangents and the way he draws like his line work. I really like his approach. Like if you have time, I definitely recommend looking up his videos where he talks about his art, because he says stuff like he prefers to use permanent media like inks, so when he makes a mistake, he'll have to just like, keep going and try and see what he can make out of it. So I really enjoy his videos. Also, he's super cute. So, alright. Next question. What inspired? Oh, Xanadoodles asks, what inspired you to keep drawing Glee characters even in 2018? I asked because I do it too. And Riley Berry 2000 also asks, what is so captivating about Glee for you that got you to make an alternate universe? I love your art, by the way. Thank you. So I think I've answered this question like so many times in my previous videos, but I never get tired of answering it because I find it so fun that people are like kind of asking like, what is it about the show that you keep making art for it? And it's not even like the show anymore at this point. It's just I'm like, now, like before it was me just directly taking from the show, but now I'm kind of like just inspired by my own universe, and that's kind of exciting, honestly, because now I'm like, I'm looking into my own comics, I'm looking into my own drawings to come up with more ideas. And though I still enjoy the musical aspect of Glee, I just don't enjoy it like I used to. Like, I know, but I still enjoy, like, the campiness and stuff. There's still parts of it I like. But I'm noticing I haven't even, like, watched the show, or I don't even skim through episodes anymore, because it's just not as fun. It's not like Riverdale. Riverdale's crazy. That shit's so fun. And it's kind of like Glee, in a way. But yeah, I guess Glee itself, the campiness, the directing of season 1, if there's any season that I would be inspired by and rewatch, it's season 1. But yeah. Oh, okay. Royal Mushrooms Witch asks, what supplies do you use? Digitally, I use Photoshop, CS5, and Nova. They're 19-inch. And for traditional supplies, I use watercolor, Simply Arts watercolors, Touch 5 markers, and Black Signal pens, gel pens. Radical Grasshole says, what's your favorite color? My favorite color is green. Even though I don't use it a lot in art, but whatever. Porcelain, hold on, I gotta zoom in. Porcelain Saturn asks, have you ever done dance, like ballet? And have you ever done figure skating? I have never done dance. I cannot dance for the life of me. I could probably take a class or something. I've always wanted to learn how to dance better and stuff, like professionally. Ballet would be fun, but I don't like the community. But I did take a theater class. That was fun. Like, I was able to, like, we didn't do a lot of acting, but I got to create my own script, and we read it to the class, and my teacher was, like, obsessed with it, and that was really cool, not gonna lie. But I've never taken ballet classes or dance. I have gone skating. I've never done figure skating, but I don't think that's anything I ever want to get into, because I'm just scared of, like, something getting cut up by those blades, because we went skating a while ago with my friend, my other best friend. I have two friends. My other best friend, and she got a major boo-boo, like, on her hand because someone's blades cut it, and I'm like, yeah, I'm not doing this. So, nope, no skating for me. Roller skating's fun, though. Rollerblading. Someone asked, their name got cut off, I'm sorry. Is there any sources of inspiration behind your art style? A lot of my sources are just from the artists that I really like, but if you go to my inspiration blog, it's literally anything. My main source of inspiration probably might be, like, that's hard. I guess stuff from in real life, like, a lot of pictures I take from my iPhone, because I like to take random ass pictures, and usually those, I think about it, and then I incorporate that in my art. Also, the artists that I like Brandon Boyd and JC Landecker, I always look up to their stuff, especially Gustav Klimt though. I'm always going back to his stuff to see like what cool patterns I can use in my artwork. But as for inspirations, there's just so many sources I can't even pin it down to one thing. But I know a lot of the times I'm inspired by TV shows. Like if you notice, like 90210, recently Riverdale, like there's something about these shows I just cling to, and I either draw fan art of it or there's lots of influence from those shows. And it's usually shows that no one watches. Riverdale's an exception, but yeah. Mini Moonart asks, what's your favorite piece you've done? My favorite piece probably has to be the one I'm doing right now, because it has my favorite color in it, and I don't use a lot of that color for some reason. Also, this piece, inspired by Carl Alexander Wilk, it's Curtin Blaine, and it has like the piece it was inspired by had like this triangular kind of composition, and I really wanted to try and recreate that. Like at first it was going to be a direct study or copy of it, but I'm like, you know what, I want to actually buff up my inspiration skills, try and be inspired by it instead of just copying it, and I really like the results a lot. I just wish I could put on a t-shirt or something, but I don't know. Chill Cryptid asks, do you have any special pens you use for your art? Ah, yeah, I mentioned Signal Black gel pens. Breakfast Meats asks, what? Yeah, okay, the pens again. Damn it, I keep reading the same things. Well, Breakfast Meats asks what pens you use. Same thing. Signal Black pens, or just any black gel pen I can find. I'm not only restricted to Signal, I'm just finding anything that's cheap. Gabby Goffra asks, I love your sense of fashion. Was wondering who is your fashion inspiration? I always find it cool when people like my fashion, because I used to be really like into like what I wear, like really like, oh, I have to dress the best, I have to have the best fashion, and then eventually I just put on whatever I thought looked cool. I don't know if someone specifically, there's no specific person who inspires me fashion wise. I'm really into like time period fashion, like the 1980s has really great summer fashion and winter fashion, like the big jackets. I love those big fat coats. Especially 1970s fashion though. I think 70s summer, but especially winter fashion is phenomenal, and I just try my best to like incorporate those looks into my everyday clothes. I know a lot of people, like from where I live, the way I dress is a little odd, so it's really nice to hear that someone appreciates like I get called a weirdo, so it's really nice that you guys like my clothes and stuff. But yeah, as people wise, not really inspired by people or specific people exactly. It's more of time eras, 90s, 80s, 70s. That really inspires me. I also appreciate silhouettes. I think of shapes when I dress up as well, especially in the winter. I like creating big silhouettes in the winter. Katie Cummings asks, what gives you the motivation to draw? I like this question because it could be taken as the same as inspiration, but I feel like inspiration is very different from motivation. Inspiration is just what makes you want to create a specific thing, or the painting, and I feel like motivation is what makes you want to create at all. So what motivates me, before it used to be inspiration. That was my motivation, inspiration. And now my motivation is just the fact that it needs to be made. Like now I kind of think I want this image to be made, and no one's gonna do it but me. And I want to see what it's gonna look like. So that's kind of what motivates me now. Like this image, I wasn't like looking like, oh, I have to see what will inspire me to create for the speed paint. I just saw a picture and I'm like, I like those. I like leaves. I kind of want to imagine like Mercedes in that. And I just was like, alright, well, let's make it. You know? So that's kind of my motivation. It's just the creating of it. And I think I've recently fallen in love with the process of creation, because it's just so cool, like just coming up with something and then working on it for a long time and then eventually seeing a result. So yeah, my motivation is just the creating of it itself, and I think that's helped me a lot, because I stopped worrying about like, oh, it has to be perfect, and more of like, I just want to make it and have a blast. I had so much fun making this drawing, by the way, because of that. I also think not having a sketch layer helps too. It takes away all those anxieties. Nadura asks, what is a good way to figure out your art style? Mine is very inconsistent and I get very upset. Well, like I mentioned before, it's not something you think about. When you're making your art style, you just do it, you know? But if you really are concerned, I'd say think about what your favorite artists are and give a spectrum. Like, give us your favorite artist that draws the most cartoony, and then your favorite artist that draws the most realistic, and find where you fit or where you want to fit in that spectrum. And I think when you figure that out, or you find which one appeals to you more, maybe it's both, then you can kind of figure out where you want to go artistically, style wise. I feel like but with the inconsistency part, I think that's a good thing, because you don't want to be stagnant, honestly. I feel like my style is pretty inconsistent sometimes too, because I don't think my work looks the same as it did like from the beginning of October. Actually, maybe it did, because I didn't draw a lot. The beginning of probably 2016 does not look the same, because I'm always trying to improve, I'm always trying to change. I like change in art. So don't be afraid of the inconsistency. I'd welcome that if I were you. Just saying. There's a lot of artists who sometimes stay stagnant, and it's not very good, in my opinion. Have you ever... Oh, Bubble Bobby, sorry, asks, have you ever had a stage where you were obsessed with color pencils? Not really. I know when I was in high school, someone gave me color pencils as a gift for Secret Santa, but there's something about color pencils I don't like. Like, it's just you're filling in stuff. I just loathe it. I loathe it. I like things where I can make a big mark, like markers, watercolor. I just make one stroke and that could fill like 90% of the picture. I can't really do that with color pencils. And I know there's Conte crayons too, but it's not the same. I'm not a fan of... I guess you could say I'm not a big fan of dry media. I just realized that. Yeah, I don't really like dry media. I like just wet media. And markers count as wet media. Alright. Alkayart asks, how did you get into the habit of finding references for your pieces? You always plan them out really well, and I haven't seen many artists share this part of the process. Yellow heart. That's really cool, because I kind of noticed that too. A lot of artists don't really share that process unless it's like Patreon. Like, they usually say, oh, if you want to find out my process, sure to, support me on Patreon, which I have no problem with. But, for me, I feel like that's also an important part of being an artist, is sharing your process, sharing at least some of your process. It doesn't have to be all of it, at least some of it. And I've always loved, because there's artists I followed, and they always shared their process. They always shared like the mood boards, the sketches, and I always thought it was so cool. So like, wow, you can really see the bare bones of the image and where they got all the inspiration from. So that's why I kind of do that too now, because I really enjoy showing people like, hey guys, this all came from somewhere. It's not just out of my ass. Like, it also shows artists, we all borrow from each other. No matter how original we are, we always borrow from each other. And the fact that you think I planned them out really well is really nice, because I kind of feel like I just grab things and just stick them wherever. But that's the fun part of it. I think that's the most fun, actually, mood board, because it's like a child. You're ripping out pieces from a page and you're just tacking it onto your mood board. And I think every artist should at least share some of that part with your audience for free. It doesn't have to be all of it, but I think it's important to show that. Hey, it's Mars asks, do you actually teach kids little art things? Little art things. I see you post about kids and art. So, question mark. Um, yeah, I actually do. My job is very grueling. It's a very difficult job. Um, this is why I haven't really had time to actually make a lot of digital art. If you notice, a lot of it, if you go on my Instagram, it's all like traditional, like 90%, because I've either been too exhausted to make digital art, or I've had no time. So I started in October, and during the school year, I would have to walk to school, and this would be my day, typical day. Walk to work, get prepared, get the homework sheets and everything, red sheets, yellow sheets, all those sheets, information sheets, grab my binder. Sometimes I would have to go early to prepare for a lesson, so, but then I would go and walk like at least 5 to 10 minutes to the school I was assigned to, because everyone else got to go in a fucking car, but because mine was like 10 minutes away walking, they like, fuck you, you're gonna walk. So I had to walk no matter how hot or cold it was. I had to walk. And if it was raining, I had to walk. If I didn't make it to the bus on time, I don't know. The driver was a bitch, that's all I know. But yeah, so I walk to my school, and then I wait for at least an hour until they get out of school. Once they get out of school, I have to help them with homework. And let me tell you, helping kids with homework is not easy, because there was some kids who had learning disabilities, and I would try and give them more attention, but then those kids who didn't have learning disabilities would get jealous, or they get mad, like, why are you helping him? You're not even helping us. And I'm like, fuck you, he needs help. Like, be patient, but that's how kids are. They're just, So, yeah, I would have a lot of trouble. Half of them wouldn't even finish their homework, and they would blame it on you. They'd call their parents. They would actually tell their parents, and then their parents would blame you. I one time had an argument with one of the teachers, because, I don't know, I think I talked about this in my other video. I don't know. But I had an argument with one of the math teachers, because the kids kept getting the wrong answers. Mind you, I'm the only one helping them. That's like 8 kids I'm helping. I'm not that good at math. She tells them I'm not, the person, that I'm not doing my job right, that I'm not being a very good teacher, counselor, whatever the hell I was, staff. I wasn't doing my job right, yeah. And yeah, I'm like, wow, they did not pay me enough for this. So, I gave her a piece of my mind, but that just happens sometimes. So then after I help them with homework, I take them to the bus, we go all the way back to the building, get their lunch, get their snack, finish helping them with homework there, if they finish their homework. And then we take them down and we start our sessions. Oh yeah, by the way, we get yelled at if they don't finish their homework by our boss. Because one person can help 8 kids, I guess. But yeah, then I wait for the sessions, and then the kids line up to do art. And then that's where I take them to my room, take them downstairs to the basement, because my art room's in the basement. And we do our art sessions. We go back up, do another session, go back up, have dinner, and then we're out. So you can imagine why I never post big digital pieces anymore. It's been hard. And on top of that, I was in school as well, so, but now in the summer it's the same minus the school stuff. But yeah, I usually, when I'm doing the art stuff, I'm teaching kids about Picasso, the basics, or I've taught them about Leon Decker and Gustav Klimt. It was just really cool, because they're like, oh, we've heard of Picasso, but we never heard of these artists. But it's a hard job, because a lot of the kids, they don't like art. The area they're in, the inner city areas, they don't put emphasis in artwork. They put emphasis in sports and stuff, but not artwork. So it's very frustrating when you're trying to teach kids something as basic as drawing, and they're like, I don't want to do that, this is stupid. But the good part of it is that you do have kids, amazing kids who are great artists, and they're just like, yeah, I want to do this, I want to challenge this. They make the job worth it. Well, yeah, that's basically what I do. Sastric Bypass asks, what is your favorite facial expression to draw? Probably my favorite would be anything where it contorts the face, usually disgusted, or pissed. I love drawing pissed people. That is so fun to draw. Like yelling, that's fun too. I don't draw a lot of happy. I like drawing people laugh, so that's really fun. Just anything that makes people have lines on their face, I really like drawing that. I hate neutral faces. That's boring. The Insanely Cool asks, how old are you? Can you tell us some of your art journey? When did you start drawing seriously? Well, currently I am 23, but I never like saying my age because I'm having a existential crisis, so I'd rather not talk too much about that. But I started getting serious when I was in high school, like right in junior year, because I wanted to become an animator. I don't anymore, even though I'm having a degree in that. I'm more into the storyboard aspect of it. But yeah, that's when I really started getting serious about it and did life drawing stuff and all that. So my art journey, I don't know what you mean by that. I guess, well, my art journey is basically, it's a series of me going from, because I used to tell people, like, when I was little, I was like in 4th grade, and I'd be like, I only want to do art as a hobby. I'm going to do something else in the future, something more realistic. And eventually, as I got older, I started to realize I love art way too much to not make this a part of my life. I don't know if I still want to do it as a career, but I want to be a part of like movies, and because now recently I've realized that that's what I want to do. I want to be a part of movies, cartoons, anything where I can create, collaborate, because I love working with people. Something like that. That would mean a lot to me, especially in a horror film. That would be really fun to do. But yeah, for my art journey, that's pretty much it. I mean, if maybe in the future I'll have like a video where I actually show my art journey from when I like as early as I can find to now. That would be really cool to show. We'll see. Sprints Lesses asks, what is your favorite color scheme to use in your drawings? I usually really prefer very warm color schemes. Like, if you notice, a lot of my artwork has like reds, yellows. I barely use cool colors in my art, but I'm trying to change that because I think a cool color scheme is just as nice as a warm one. For some reason, I just lean towards warm color schemes. It might be because my F-Lux is always on. I don't know. But, alright. Next question. Chips Wizard asks, what do you use for inspiration for your art? The poses and expressions always look so cool and unique. So, I know I always say it's usually artists that I look up to, like, the previous mentioned. And, what do you call it? I take inspiration from in real life, as I mentioned before too. But, I'm going to use this time also to talk about how I get inspired by these TV shows. Not just Glee. I always mention Glee, but like 90210 and Riverdale. I have some art planned for Riverdale, actually. I didn't want to mention it, but I do. But there's always something in these TV shows that another show does not have. Like 90210. This show taught me how to draw foreheads and deep set eyes. I've never learned how to draw stuff like that until I started watching that show. So I really appreciate the stuff we get to learn. I also learned I learned more how to draw looser clothes, because the 90s had a lot of loose, big outfits, and you have to learn how to draw that too. So it's really cool how I learned how to draw certain things that I didn't know when I watched Glee. And watching Riverdale, I'm learning a lot about color schemes, because it has a very, say what you want, but the color key artist or whoever they have working that really knows what they're doing, because it is fantastic. So I'm starting to learn a little bit more about how to use colors and in certain moods, and I hope I can incorporate that in my comic. But yeah, for inspiration, I'm always inspired by TV shows, because there's just so much you can learn from it. There's never things you can't learn from TV shows. So yeah, that's why I'm kind of always consuming shows. Alright, last question. Super Lit asks, I have a question. Since you're getting your animation bachelor's, do you plan on or even thought about making a short film? I love you, by the way. I love you too. And yes, I would love to make a short film. Like, absolutely. But I just don't know if I'll have the time, or if I just feel nervous because I have so many ideas for a short film. Or not even a short film, just short animated clips. Or even if it's not animation, I want to make more storyboards of things. Like, I know I mention it all the time in every video, but I'm so honest when I say this is something I kind of want to get into as a career. Not permanently, but it's one of the many art careers I want to do, like storyboard for a movie or for a TV show, or even be a color key artist. So I would definitely like to make some kind of animation. I know I always picture in my head, if you don't mind me sharing, I have these made up animations in my head. One was it's always of Glee, but recently it's been of from Riverdale, FP and Fred. They go on like FP knocks on Fred's door and he's like, "Oh, I have a dead body. I need you to help me, hide." And Fred's like, "What?" And they kind of go on this little romantic yet grotesque date, and that's kind of something that's been in my head a lot. I'm a little embarrassed sharing it, but I really want to make that happen. Please hire me, CW. But yeah, I think that's all the questions. Yes. I hope I've answered everyone's questions. I hope, no stone was left unturned. I'd like to do another Q&A, hopefully in the future, so look forward to that. Hopefully I can be a little more entertaining when I do it. But yeah, I really enjoy answering questions and just having art topics and stuff, especially art topics. So if you want me to talk about any other like art topics or maybe art drama, it depends. I love drama, but it depends. Just leave a comment, let me know, because I'm always up for talking about shit. I can never like come up with it from my head. But if you have any, let me know. Thank you for watching. Thank you for your support. Bye.